Hello and welcome to another episode by CDBTC. So basically, I've broken down my crypto strategy into 5 pillars: holding, trading, ICOs, airdrops, and yield farming. Today, we're going to talk about number one, which is holding. And holding requires assets or tokens that have strong fundamentals. Why? Because these are tokens that we're going to hold for long term. We're going to hold them for between 2 and 3 years. So we need projects that are growing, that are developing, that are actually building. Since these projects are building, they entail lower risk. That's what we want in something that we're going to be holding for a long term. And some of the examples I have here are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Polkadot, and Aave. Why do I have some of these? Well, Bitcoin, you know what it is. We're not going to go into it. You know the strong fundamentals Ethereum has as well. Smart contracts are being built upon it. Lots of dApps are being built upon it. And they're having spectacular network growth. Polkadot is the new kid on the block. They are going to compete against Ethereum once they actually launch. They haven't launched yet. They're working on a launch, but I think that they're going to take a little bit of market share from Ethereum. And Chainlink and Aave are two other examples I have right here. I would also have to add Binance chain here, Binance coin, because it's also showing strong fundamentals. And why is that important? I'm going to show you something very interesting, okay? Let's take a look at this historical snapshot from January 7th, 2018. Wow, that's a long time ago. Or so it seems. Look at the tokens that compose the top 10. Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, NEM, Litecoin, Tron, Stellar, and IOTA. How does the top 10 currently look? Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're still there, number one, and Ethereum now is number two. And look at what we have here. Binance coin, we still have Cardano, we still have XRP, but it's down. We have Polkadot in there, and we have Uniswap. Okay, so the coins that were in the top 10, a lot of them have left. These tokens did not have staying power. A lot of them were not building, and that's why they're not in the top 10 anymore. NEM hasn't been building anything. It's out. Litecoin, lots. It's silver, and it's gone. Tron, I kind of like Tron, but it's been a lot of vaporware, more show than anything else. Justin Sun just tweeting announcements over announcements. Stellar hasn't been building a lot. IOTA, they were supposed to connect the Internet of Things, and they didn't do anything. So they are out of here. But what about tokens in 2018 that started to build, that actually built stuff and have backing, have businesses, relevant businesses that are doing networking and businesses with other companies? And that's where I get my two examples. Okay, so let's look for Chainlink here. Chainlink. Okay, so Chainlink was in position 87. Each link was worth 127. Imagine if during this time, which was the top of the bull market, the past bull market, Chainlink was at $1.27. Since this is a token that belongs to a project that's been building and they've never stopped, it doesn't matter if they have people criticizing them or not, they've been building. And Chainlink hit $50 this bull market. So that's approximately 40x from this point. If you had bought Chainlink in the past bull market and held a sound and strong project, you would be 40x up right now. Chainlink went down, and it went down to 40 cents. You could have bought more Chainlink at that price and you would have made a ton of money. Why? Because it was a strong project based on fundamentals. I also added Binance, and let's look at BNB, where BNB was in 2018. It was at $18.66, and it was one of the tokens that performed relatively strong during the bear market. And why? Because they have a strong team behind it. They have a working exchange that grew up to become the number one centralized exchange in the cryptoverse, and thus they have a business that supports it. So as you can see, the characteristic of these two tokens and why they are now, Binance coin is in the top 4 and Chainlink is in the top 15 right now, is because they had strong fundamentals. So what does that tell you? We have to look at coins that have strong fundamentals that can help us get through a bear market in the future, okay? And imagine if they get through a bear market, what are they gonna do in a bull market? they're going to outperform. And that brings me to this decentralized finance. Decentralized finance is a new segment being built upon crypto. You might have heard about decentralized finance, but what is it? So, decentralized finance, or DeFi, as we love to call it, is an alternative to traditional finance. It is being built on top of the blockchain. So that's going to offer us various benefits that we cannot achieve from traditional finance. And it's also going to offer access to financial services and opportunities that a lot of people in different parts of the world do not have access. And one of the greatest benefits is that you have direct control to your asset. There's something very interesting. American billionaire and venture capitalist Mark Cuban, he's worth an estimated $4.3 billion, billion with a B. So I listen to what a person like that says. He says that explosive growth in DeFi is like the early days of the internet. Imagine if you had been able to invest in Amazon in 2017. We would be swimming in money, or Apple during that time. And he says that this investing in DeFi is like the early days of the internet. And as you can see, it's had exponential growth. It went from $4 billion in June 2020 to more than $80 billion in June 2021. It had topped $150 billion in May. And then, we had that correction. And that's why I'm bringing you this information right now, because we had a correction in the altcoins and in the general crypto space where we corrected between 70 and 90% in some cases, okay? So with a correction like that, it's kind of like the prices reset. And if the prices reset, it's a nice time to look into projects and identify those that have potential of growing in the future, especially if they're based on strong fundamentals. Okay, so what is decentralized finance and why is it important or interesting? We have a comparison between traditional finance and decentralized finance. Traditional finance is centralized, okay? So that means that there's a central point of control. Anything can go wrong with it. If that central point of control goes, your savings are gone with it. Let's say a bank. A bank is proven to have been laundering money with knowledge for certain nefarious actors. They could be shut down. And what happens to your money? You might get it back, but it's going to take some time. It's regulated, heavily regulated. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. But most of the time, the regulations aren't oriented to the little people. They're oriented to benefit the large corporations, Wall Street. It's time consuming. You have to go to the bank. If you want a loan, you have to go to the bank, fill out papers, wait for approval. Someone has to review everything. And then if they finally say yes, it's going to take more time to get the money liberated. So it's time consuming. If you want to send an overseas draft, a lot of the times you have to go into the bank. You cannot do it online. So it's time consuming. It's tedious. There's so much paperwork you have to present. It lacks transparency. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. They're cooking the books. If your bank doesn't have the funds that it says it has, if they made bad loans, if they're gonna go broke, and you might lose your money. It's also expensive. They charge you for everything. They charge you for overdraft. They charge you for having a balance below a certain minimum. They charge you for withdrawing from the ATM. They charge you for sending transfers. They charge you for everything, okay? So instead of paying you pay them, basically. And decentralized finance is a lot of the opposite. There's no central entity. It's decentralized. It's borderless. It's global. You can be in the United States. You can be in South America. You can be in Europe. You can be in Australia. You can be anywhere in the world and have access to these platforms. You cannot do that with the traditional banking system. If I am a citizen of a South American country and I go to the United States and ask for a loan, it's not going to happen. It's going to be very hard. Not with decentralized finance. I can be anywhere in the world and have access to the platform services, either loans or deposit or insurance, etc. I have direct control of the assets, or you have direct control of the assets, because they are linked to your wallet, okay? So only you can control them. No one else does. It's super fast, much faster than traditional finance. You get everything in seconds or minutes. And it doesn't matter the distance. You can do that across borders, across the world. It's transparent. You can look into the blockchain. Anyone can look into the blockchain and see what's going on, how the platforms are allocating their money, how many loans have been taken out, how many deposits are in there, what are the funds, are the reserves? What's the status of the reserve? And it's very cost efficient compared to traditional finance. So I think that the decentralized finance is going to take a chunk or steal a part of market share from traditional finance. It's going to be slow at first with the people who are always ahead of the curve trying it out, and then it's going to become slowly more mainstream. What do I even think? Maybe some of the traditional finance corporations are going to be interested in buying out some of these decentralized finance platforms. Okay, so which are some of these platforms? The ones that I'm looking at and that I feel have interesting potential for the future. So we have platforms in the different spaces of traditional finance. We have in loans, we have in derivatives, we have exchanges, we have savings, and we have insurance. And the ones I'm looking at right now are Aave for loans and savings, Synthetics for derivatives, Uniswap as exchanges. I would also add PancakeSwap and SushiSwap in here. I have Curve, which also delivers interesting interest, and cover for insurance. I don't know. In the future, these platforms might be bought out by traditional finance. But even if they're not, these platforms are generating their own income. A lot of people are using them. Some of these are even competing with the centralized versions. For example, Uniswap at one point reached the same volume of transaction as Binance does. Binance is the largest centralized exchange in the world. In Uniswap, a decentralized exchange, had or achieved the same volume. There's billions of dollars deposited in Curve as well as Aave. So these are platforms that are self-sustainable and they're growing. And I believe that in the next 2 or 3 years, their token price is going to continue to appreciate, just as Binance Chain did and just as Link did in the past 2 or 3 years. Okay, so if you had bought Binance Chain and Chainlink 2 or 3 years ago, you would be a very happy camper right now. And I believe that that's what's going to happen with Synthetics, Aave, Uniswap, Curve, Cover, Sushi, and PancakeSwap as well. So I'm going to create some videos specifically about each platform and what it does so that you have more information. But this is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much.